What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Row Lamb Live. Today, I am joined by independent author JQ Davis. JQ, how you feeling today?
I'm great. I'm great.
Awesome. Well, tonight we're going to talk about writing. We're going to talk about her life, her career, her creativity. But before we do that, one of the first things that I like to do is I love to ask the question, what is inspiring you right now? So, JQ, what's inspiring you right now? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What's getting the creative juices going for you right
Oh
now?
my gosh. You know what? We're about to get deep already.
Perfect.
Well, what's been inspiring me? Life has been inspiring me.
Yes.
In particular, life as a woman. Uh, I've been going through. You know what? I'm just gonna be honest here. I've been going through some hormonal changes
Okay.
as a woman, and that's it's a lot to handle.
Mhm.
So it's changed my view of things. It's changed my writing a little bit.
Mm.
So I'm kind of trying to like figure all that out right now. And but yeah, it's been motivating me to write and create characters who are relatable.
Yeah.
So
That's great. That was man, I already have some questions about that brewing right now. Um for me, what's been inspiring me actually, I've been studying the art of copywriting the last couple of days.
oh,
And that's been pretty interesting. I mean, I've studied it before and I've done some things before, but just really getting into the minds of like advertising and marketing and writing short, concise things, which
yeah, that's the stuff that I hate.
oh, you hate. See, that's interesting because you being a poet as well, I would have thought that you would have loved that because that's what I love about poetry is
Yeah.
the brevity of it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
this whole poetry thing is new for me. It is.
Okay.
I have never gotten into poetry before. I've read it and I've appreciated it, but I've
Mhm.
never written it ever. And that's something that has actually started recently. About a year ago, it started, and I don't know. It just came out one day, and you read all these like little free verse poems on Instagram. They have those
Right,
little, and I guess I just felt inspired and like kind of went, hey, I could do that.
right.
So yeah, so it's a little bit of like my own life mixed in with like fiction, and I got some poetry stuff. So, but all that other stuff that you're talking about, like advertising and all that, I can't do that.
You could
Like
do it.
even like even writing the synopsis of a one of my books, like that's the hardest part of writing, I feel like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not the
Absolutely.
whole book, just the
Right.
synopsis part.
Right. So I had this question for later, but I'll ask you now since we touched on the poetry already. But how has your poetry process, how is it different from your prose writing process?
Absolutely. So there is a huge difference. Poetry, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just kind
Mhm.
of whatever I'm feeling
Yeah.
in the moment. Like
Yeah.
the other day, I was actually talking to my husband. He's in the middle of talking to me, and I'm like, "Hold on, I got to write this down
No
somewhere
idea.
because
Yeah.
it's a new poem."
I can't
So
lose it.
exactly, yeah, it just happens anywhere. With my book writing, my novels, my stories, that can happen too, as far as like my ideas go, or if I get an idea, it pops up. But there's a lot more planning, is
Yeah.
a lot more plotting. There's a lot more of that going on, outlining stuff
So
like
you're
that.
not a pantser.
I am to a certain degree. I
Okay.
I
Okay.
thought I was, but actually after writing the book that I'm writing right now, it's been kind of I've been kind of, tightening up my the way that I do things.
Is
Um,
there a reason for that?
well, I feel like it's been helping motivate my writing.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I feel like if I even have like a little bit of a schedule, like, or if Stephen King says, write at least 500 words a day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do try to do that sometimes, but even doing that every day, just following like a consistency or a schedule has really helped me, get more of my writing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting is, so I just finished like my first novel, and I got feedback from a editor, and I realized that it took me probably, I've been working on this novel for probably like 4 or 5 years now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't take 4 or 5 years to write this next
Right.
novel. So
Right.
I really do have to like, I find myself wanting to outline and plot a little bit more just to speed up the process a little bit.
Absolutely.
What I usually do is I usually will pants a first draft, and I'll just, spit it out, and then I'll outline out of that,
Right.
and then do my second draft.
That's good. That's a good, yeah. One of the things I do is I tend to revise
Okay.
my first draft as I write. I'm not one of those people who just writes. I
Right.
wish I was. I wish I could just sit here and just write all day long. I've seen some indie authors, they spit out books like every, like, oh my gosh, every year they have like 2 books. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. That's
Unreal.
crazy.
Yeah.
But for me, I think what takes me a long time too is yeah, I revise as I write my first draft. And it's mostly, a lot of times it's like to remind myself like where I'm at.
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
or I'll have an idea that needs me to change something in a chapter before, so I'll go back and then I'll read from that chapter on. I mean, yeah, my process can be a little tedious, or some people might look at it and go, "Oh, you're wasting a lot of time," but
Yeah.
it's just how I do it, you know?
Yeah. So I saw you say in another interview, I actually think I was reading this interview. You
Mhm.
mentioned that you grew up like as a little girl, you were writing stories and creating. But when did you know that you wanted to be like you wanted to do it for a living?
So there's a video of me when I was in 8th grade. My mom took a home video of me.
Wow.
And okay, I know this is gonna sound like really like I'm tooting my own horn here. Okay.
No, do it.
But I won homecoming queen in 8th grade. Okay.
Okay. Talk about it.
And yeah, it was just, 8th grade's like middle school. It's no big deal. It's not high school, but I won homecoming queen. And in this video, my mom is asking me, oh, like, what's the queen gonna do when she graduates? And I said, I'm going to write a book.
Wow.
And that, I was about 12 or 13 years old. I think I was 13. And I just always knew that I wanted to write a book. I didn't know about what. I didn't know. I just knew that I always wanted a book out there with my name on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, I've been writing since actually elementary school was when I started writing.
Mm.
And they had like young authors contests, and I would enter them. And I don't know. It's just always been something I love doing, telling stories.
Yeah. What is it that you love about it? Like, what is it that, can you put it into words?
You know what? I could put it into words if I was writing it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm that person in the family that, if Joanna gives you a card, it's gonna be filled out with how she feels, and
Right.
it's a whole. That's how I do better writing. My feelings, everything is just better to me if I'm writing it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I like writing so much, is because I'm able to express my feelings. I'm better at it that way. So
Yeah. I mean, so many of us are just looking for ways to communicate,
exactly.
and,
Yep.
express ourselves to the world. And I know for myself, like, writing has just always been, I remember my dad asked me, like, why do you like writing? And I said, because it's the one place that I can be myself. You know what I'm saying? It's the one place where I can do anything that I want.
Yep. Absolutely.
And a part of that, though, is that expression and that communication and being able to, like, this is living inside of me, and I don't know any other way
Exactly.
except through this. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I see you have a comic book.
Yeah.
And so are you the artist in that?
I'm not the artist. I'm not the artist. I'm the writer.
Okay.
I hired, my artist is from the Philippines.
Okay, nice.
I met him on Twitter, and we did some short projects before. And so this was like my first like big I did like a 10-page comic book, and then I wanted to do like a full-length comic book. So this was my first one, and he agreed to do it. And so yeah,
Nice.
so we're 2 issues in.
That's awesome. That's, oh my God. I have to get it. I haven't gotten it yet. It's in my Amazon list. So I got to get it.
I'm gonna send you a 1 and 2 because two is finished. So I'm gonna send you 1 and 2.
Nice. That's something I love, comic books.
Oh yeah.
Or graphic novels, I should say. You know,
Okay.
but I haven't gotten into the anime like a lot of people I know. A lot of people surprise me with the anime, like people I never thought would be into it or into it. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I need to get into it. But I do love. I wish I could, I wish art was a medium for me, but it's not, unfortunately.
I'm actually taking some art classes right now.
Nice. Yeah. My dad is an artist.
Okay.
He, I grew up watching my dad draw. He's an amazing, he draws anything. He can look at anything and draw it. But I also, he used to do dioramas
Oh,
when I
wow.
was younger, and he would do like war dioramas and just, it was mainly like war stuff that he got into. But I guess that was his medium, and it was amazing the things that he would do. And I used to love watching him just sit there and paint those little
Yeah.
the little faces on these guys and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I started taking art classes.
That's great.
This is tangentially related, but I started taking art classes because I was having conversations with artists around this whole AI boom, right? And so there's a lot of art that's being done by AI, and a lot of these great artists that I follow, they were saying like, you can learn how to do this. Like,
Right.
we're not special, it's a skill. And I said, what? I can learn how to do this?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, well, it could take a long time, but you can learn how to do it. I'm like, okay, well, I should get started.
That's awesome. That's great. I think that's definitely something that I would do myself is take art classes because I don't know. I just feel like having that is just like a great skill. I don't know, like just watching my dad have it and I don't know. I think it would be great. I just want to see what comes out of my mind in art form.
Exactly. That's
You know
what
what
I
I
was
mean?
thinking.
Like, yeah.
For sure.
And I have tried, like I'll sit down and I'll paint but I'm like, God, nothing fun is, I even try, cause I love horror and writing horror and, so I try to think of just something like gruesome. I just can't do it.
Something gruesome. No,
Yeah.
I feel. So let me ask you this. We were talking about a little bit about your writing process. And another thing that I saw in one of your interviews is that you talked about sort of your chronic illness.
Yeah.
And I wonder how your chronic illness, and then I know you had a situation where you were in a coma, a medically induced coma and all of that. How is experiencing those situations affected, your writing process, the material that you write, and just what you want to do with your writing?
Absolutely. That's a good question. They say to write from experience. I write horror, so obviously I don't want to experience the things that my characters go through.
Yeah.
But mentally, I like to use Soul Catcher when I'm talking about my chronic illness. I like to use Soul Catcher as an example because that book was written during the time of my recovery from the coma.
Wow.
And I have an autoimmune, it's autoimmune is a chronic disease. It's autoimmune cirrhosis, hepatitis, stuff like that. I have it gets really medical and really in depth, but it's just things that I've been dealing with since I was younger, and I'm healthy. I have doctors that take care of me. But during that time that I was in the coma, that was really, really, really hard. When I got out, I was like almost done writing Soul Catcher when that happened. And I wanted to write so bad because I was recovering and recovery was just so hard. And I wanted to get out of my head, and I felt like writing was just perfect and I needed it. But I didn't have the strength to do it for a while. So when I finally did, and I finally finished Soul Catcher, a lot of that book is just my feelings in recovery. And it was very real and raw for me. And so, yeah, I don't think that book would have came out how it did had I not been recovering in a coma and been through everything that I went through. So I try to use my, and my characters are all flawed. And I do talk a lot about death. And so that does, yeah, I mean, my chronic illness does affect the way I write a lot now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I just try to write what I know, and then all my characters are basically me, just with different, different types of things going on.
Yeah. I've actually been reading Soul Catcher, and I actually was, as I was, I guess, researching you and looking at some of your interviews and thinking about Soul Catcher, I could sort of feel that thread there. And it makes me a little emotional, just because, like when you say you were too weak to write the book, but if you go to your social media and you see you dancing and laughing and I don't know, it's just a really powerful, when you know more about your history and that context, and then you see how you are on social media, it's powerful to see that. So I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah. That means a lot, because that's what I don't talk about my chronic illness a lot on social media. Sometimes I feel like I should, because when I was going through recovery, I had to not learn to walk again, but build the strength to walk again.
True.
And what helped me was watching people on social media. I found there was a supermodel, and I feel bad because I forgot her name, but she is a double amputee, and she is amazing. And I watched all of her videos, just laying in bed, trying to feel better, and she really did inspire me to get my butt up and move. So a lot of times I do go, man, social media and a lot of people on social media inspired me. Maybe I should do the same. But I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know how to tie that in really with I know it's a part of me, but I don't know. I mostly like positive. That is why I stick mostly with positivity. Because life can be so hard, and when I was on social media and I was going through all the hard stuff, I just want to see positive things. So that's what I try to share.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I think it's really positive to show that healing, right? To show that progression, and to know, I came from there. I went through this. I came through this, and now look at me. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a way you could tie it in. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to, but I think you can do it.
This year actually made 5 years since it happened, which is crazy. So I did post some stuff about it, in the middle of the year, kind of toward when it was all happening. But yeah, it's just, and it's funny because I do post about some of the medication, like when I do my infusion days, but if I were to post about it, it would mostly be to help other people, and to help them understand that they're not alone. Some of these things may seem scary, but it's not, things like that. I would totally become an advocate for something like that. So that's actually something to look into. I mean, I can maybe even, just come up with a whole new social media just for that, just for autoimmune conditions, and for a place for people to just talk and relate about that.
Yeah. Well, just think on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Got ideas on. That's what that is what I love about networking and on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mostly Instagram, because like Facebook, I don't even use Facebook anymore. Twitter, I deleted my Twitter account. And I'm only on Instagram because I have met such a great writing community on there, and a reading community. And we all kind of like relate, and we're all struggling at the same time, because in the end, I'm a struggling artist.
Right.
Like I know a lot of us are, and I'm just trying to get my things out there. I mean, I've been doing this for since I self-published Turning Grace in 2012.
And you've done 6 books, right?
Yes.
6 books.
Yeah. And I mean, when I first published it, oh my gosh, you wouldn't have wanted to see it. It was terrible. It was
Oh,
literally, it was it was like I don't even know what I was thinking when I released it, but I was so excited because I did this book and but I've learned so much since then.
yeah.
Except the marketing part. That part is the part that drives me crazy. And just recently, I was like, I gave up. I was like, I just want to write.
Yeah.
I'm tired of just trying to figure out how to get myself out there.
Mhm.
I just want to focus on writing. And
Yeah.
that's really what I've been doing,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to go back and talk a little bit about Soul Catcher.
Mhm.
Can you tell us what Soul Catcher is about? Give us the synopsis.
Oh God, this is the part where I'm gonna run away because I don't know why this is the hardest thing for a writer. Oh my gosh, do you find that hard?
It's hard because we put so much into the story.
Yes,
We've written like 100,000 words, and now they're like, "Give us 450." What?
Right. Oh God, give us 2 sentences.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, the tagline on Soul Catcher is "What's an eternity to you?" So basically, ooh, let me fix this camera. Sorry. So Frankie, has sold her soul to the devil. She works for the devil, and she doesn't like it. She hates her life. She there's these things that come along with selling your soul to the devil. Like becoming immortal. She can't have children. She can't even have a real relationship. So she lives with her sister, and her sister also does the same thing. It was kind of a pact thing they did. And so the whole story is basically just her trying to get out of this deal and realizing that life is just more than what she thought it was, and she meets it's kind of an angels and demons type thing.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, angels and demons. Think fantasy. You ever seen that movie Legion?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I had in my brain.
Gotcha.
When I was writing some of those scenes, and there's an angel, and she does actually go to hell, and there is another realm that isn't hell. So it was, this story was actually really, yes, it was the most emotional I've ever written, but it was also really fun because I got to come up with hell in this book is not called hell. It's the red realm, and I really tried to make it. The thing was, I was trying to steer away from the religion side of this. I was trying not to go in there, and that was really hard to do. I didn't even say God in this book. So it was just I really just wanted to kind of make it like to the reader's own interpretation. I wanted to make it where it was like this whole other world, this whole different kind of thing.
Yeah. And I do want to touch on that a little bit because for me, I definitely felt like it was a subversion of some of, the way we think about heaven and hell, God and the devil. And so I did wonder, can you talk a little bit more about your approach to creating that world, and then also how you decided when to take your creative liberties to change certain things?
Got it. So when I first started writing, I had kind of a difficult time with descriptive writing. I had a hard time envisioning things like cities because and then at the same, like I wanted to create a place that we knew really what it was, but I just wanted to make it my own.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, she lives in a city that I pretty much based off New York, the Queens area, but kind of put in my own little twist here and there and named it something else, I mean, really, that's what creative writing is, right? But as far as this book, I myself, so I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
So I grew up believing in God and in heaven and hell and all that. But as I've gotten older, and I've learned about different religions around the world, and kind of my eyes have, I hope my mind has opened up to different things. I don't. It's not that I don't believe in Catholicism and what I learned growing up. It's just that I'm just open. I'm just open. I'll just say that. I know religion's kind of, a sticky subject with some people, but that's why in this book, I just wanted it to be important to not name God, not name heaven or hell, just kind of make it its own thing. But
Yeah.
we kind of know, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And
Right.
the process to that was, I thought it would be more difficult because I had that issue with descriptive writing, but I guess I just had it in my brain. Since I had it in my brain, like, okay, this is what I would think that, I don't know, if I was going to go to hell, like this is what it would look like to me,
Right. Right. Right.
this would be. Also, I wanted to kind of, I write horror, so I wanted there to be some kind of shock value. So there was some things in there that's like, whoa,
Yeah.
I did touch on like abortion. There was a part of there.
Hmm.
So some of it. And then you see, that's the thing about writing too, because then you're thinking like, what's too far? What's too, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that is why I stopped writing young adult, because I
Um,
felt like writing just fiction,
mhm.
um, adult fiction gave me more liberty to do and
Right.
say whatever I wanted. Whereas in young adult, Turning Grace and the whole Turning series is young adult. And while I was writing that, I was like, I can't say the F word. I mean, I could, but
Right.
in my
Right.
mind, I don't feel like the audience that I want reading this, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Right. Right.
And then adult fiction, it's like, well, I could just write whatever the hell I want to write,
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll say just in me reading, I haven't finished Soul Catcher, but the parts that I've read, I think that one of the things that I really have enjoyed about the book is from a world building standpoint,
mm-hmm.
just taking, hell
Mm-hmm.
and corporatizing it. And
Right.
I
Yeah,
think that little hack, I think
absolutely.
that makes it a little easier to world build, because what you're
Absolutely.
doing is you're taking something that people are familiar with,
Right.
the corporate structure. Oh, I hate my job. I'm sitting in a cubicle,
Mhm.
doing all those type of things. I don't know. I just found that really, really cool. And then even the house visits and things. I mean, I don't know. I just think that was a really cool piece of world building.
Yeah.
I definitely want to make sure I said that.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you. And, I had this conversation, world building too. It just kind of, I think as a writer, it's important for us to travel, because traveling has so helped me just put that picture, and then I can just, fill it in, color it in however I want. It gives me a bigger picture, and then I can just do.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
And
world
it's
building is, yeah, it could be fun, but it can also be really hard for me anyway.
Yeah. And to touch on the traveling piece, it's just so when you live in a place, you can think like everywhere is like where you live.
Right, right.
Then you go somewhere
Yes.
and it's like, oh wait, it's different here. Like
Yes.
it's really not the same. And even honestly, even here in Atlanta, like where I live now, if I go like 2 cities over, it's different. It's like
Yes.
they're different places. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that helps to build
Absolutely.
those
That's
worlds. You
definitely
know
a
what I mean?
piece of advice I would give to a writer for sure. Is
Yeah.
even if and just give an example. Just recently, I for my writing, the book that I'm writing now, I went to a cemetery that I passed the cemetery every day. Like
Yeah.
when I was younger, I saw this place all the time. I just never went inside.
Yeah.
And now as I'm older, I'm like, you know what? This place is really cool. I really want to write a scene inside of this place. I
Right.
have to go in.
Right.
Man, when I went, it was like wow, like
Yeah.
it was just cool. So even in your own town, if you can't, travel out, just venture out into different
Yeah.
areas, and that'll give you ideas for all kinds of stuff,
I mean, think about this. Like we ride in our cars so much, and we're passing by things and through places, and we just, we've never stopped to look around and see what's
Right,
there. It's like,
exactly.
yeah, I know my city, but
Right,
you really don't always know your city because
right.
you're not like really stopping to notice and look around. I was driving the other day and I went past like a bridge, and under the bridge, it was just like 20 to 30 tents. And it was like where like houseless people were living.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it is
I
like
thought
that
to
here.
myself, like, that's a whole nother world right there
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I have no idea about. And it's right, it's right here. You know what I mean? It's just so many different worlds inside of worlds
Mhm.
all around us. And it can be such great material for
Absolutely.
writing, creating stories, and building worlds. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you mentioned that descriptive writing, or I guess imagery, is
Mhm.
difficult, or was difficult for you in that book. What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned writing Soul Catcher?
Um, oh, well, in as a writer, I think Soul Catcher, because with Turning Grace and the Turning series, that was all like, okay, I published that in 2012, and then I republished it, and then I republished. So that was like multiple. Soul Catcher was the first time that that was once I had my team. I call them my team. I love them. They're my book designer. I'm sorry, cover designer, my formatter, and my editor. And I've
It's
used
all the
them.
same person?
No,
Oh,
it's different people,
okay.
3 different people, and, I found them through social media, through Instagram.
That's
They're
love.
amazing. They're freelance, so I love being able to support them as well and what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And, I think the thing I learned about Soul Catcher, actually, Soul Catcher is when I started kind of doing more outlining.
Okay.
So as a writer, that is what I took away from Soul Catcher is being a better, or learning how to outline better
Yeah.
with that book, because like I said, Turning Grace was kind of just all over the place. um, and as a person, that, I guess, the lessons that I learned from that book, oh, I don't even know, a lot. A lot, because I was going through so much recovery, and just,
Yeah.
I guess, be patient with myself,
Mm.
because it was a time in my life when I was just like, I was wanting to hurry. I wanted everything to be, I wanted to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I took my time with this book, and I took my time with recovery, and it ended up great. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So now I'm gonna ask you these. I call this segment, unofficially, I call it the one.
okay.
It's really just these. It's like 5 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 questions, and it's just each of them is like a one question. So you can answer with one word, but if you have more words, you can answer with more words. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I'm ask questions and we go from there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So what's one book that you think everyone should read? Not one of your books.
One book I think everyone should read. Honestly, okay, so in preparing for this interview, I did, because I was like, maybe we'll talk about books.
You prepared for this?
For a second, for just a minute.
Okay, go, go,
'Cause
go.
I was just thinking, like, wondering what we're talking about, and I know this is about books and writing, and I wanted to talk about just a couple of books or bring up a couple books that I had read recently. Unfortunately, they're not indie authors, although I know I gotta do some indie author book. I really gotta, like, hunker down and order some books, because I know some great indie authors on Instagram that have written good stuff, and I just haven't
Yeah.
had time to read them. Anyway,
Side note. I really think, and maybe there is, but I think there needs to be like a database.
oh my God.
All of these.
Well, I have been thinking about this for years, like some kind of app, you know what I mean? That's
Something.
just for independent authors.
Yes. Because it can be
Just
so hard to find, like,
I know, because you see all of the mainstream and the traditional books are all like trumping everybody else's stuff, at least on my feed. And so I
yeah,
don't see when,
yeah,
yeah, it's unfortunate, but I try to bookmark,
yeah.
books that like maybe some indie authors coming out with soon.
Right, right, right.
Um, but one book that I read recently that I think everybody should read, it's great, it's fun, and I think it's a little bit of fantasy, it's a little bit of horror, it's a little bit of mystery.
Okay.
Is this Pisces book? And I
The
talked about
Pisces?
it. Yeah, it's called The Pisces by Melissa Broder. And basically a woman falls in love with a merman. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a
Oh,
very great, great book. I I
yeah.
I obviously it's not relatable, but it's just got a little bit of fantasy. It is relatable. It takes place in the now, and it's just the way that Melissa writes her story is just very. I really like authors who are just real. You know what I mean? Like like the dialogue and the talking is basically. It's actually inspired me in my next book. I really like the style of writing where the author is just kind of like it's almost like she's talking to you, the reader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a chill way to read. I don't know. I'm finding all of these dark fiction writers lately
Mhm.
that I'm really enjoying.
Yeah.
Like Mona Awad. This is another one I brought over here. Brought over. Um, she's a great author, and her books are very just bizarre and cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't even. I wish I could come up with a better way to describe them, but they're just different.
Yeah. So
So
that book, The Pisces, I
yeah.
thought it was a different book when you described it, but I heard about this other book the other day, and it's about a woman who her husband is slowly turning into a shark.
Oh, okay. I need this book.
I gotta find the title. I'm gonna find the title and send it to you. But when you said that, I thought it was that book, and I'm like, no, 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 that book was a shark book. But this,
Yeah, give me the title. See, I don't know what it is lately. I've been finding a lot of these authors. I don't know if it's I think it's dark fiction is the genre, but I've been finding a lot of just bizarre stories, and it's like this one. The name of it is Tender is the Flesh. Have
I
you?
was just about to ask you about it. I just read that like a week ago or like a month ago.
Was that
It,
not insane?
that
Like,
was so crazy.
yeah, it's just so I've been finding these books that are kind of have those kind of vibes, like just bizarre and like, but at the same time almost genius. I don't know, it's really and a lot of them are female. I'm realizing now as I'm speaking to a male writer that a lot of these are female writers.
I
I
know.
and
I'm aware. But I'm going to send you this post that I found, and the woman was talking about it was like books that she got to the end of and was like, "What the fuck did I just read?"
yes.
And in the caption, she said, "Nobody." She said, "Nobody recommend Tender is the Flesh because we've all read that book." And so I'm assuming that all these weird books are like Tender is the Flesh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to read all of these books
Yes, I'm
right
telling you.
now.
So at my Barnes and Noble, and I know every Barnes and Noble is different, but at mine, I walked in one day and they had this, and that is actually where I found the Pisces and All Is Well. It was in this, like they had a little display and it said dark fiction. So that's why I'm
Okay.
thinking it's
Yeah,
dark fiction,
yeah.
but it had all these weird books. And I was like, yes, please give me all of them.
Tender is the Flesh is definitely dark fiction.
Yeah, yeah.
Certainly. Like,
And
but
I'm
it's like
really
dark, but it's like magical realism too, I would say.
right. And I'm really loving the way that they're throwing in the fantasy with real life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that guy worked at a factory. It was like, I don't know, it was just very I really love it's really inspiring my own writing. And I'm really, I've found lately that as I'm writing, I'm just like, I'm not holding back.
Yeah.
I'm, not that I held back before.
Yeah.
Before I would hold back and say, okay, this sentence isn't good because it's not, I'm writing more of the way I would speak rather than, you know what I'm saying? I guess is the better way to describe it.
Well,
I don't know.
this is what I think it is. What I think it is when we first start writing, we start writing with our favorite writers in mind, right?
Exactly.
And we're doing what we think is good based on what they've done.
We're following the rules.
We're following the rules. But then there comes a point when you're writing and you're like, I don't give a fuck no more. I'm doing
Exactly.
and then it feels so good because you're like, oh, this is me. Like,
right.
That's good. Like what they're doing is good, but this right here is me, and it's also good. Or I don't even care if it's good anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said it not following the rules. That's exactly actually what it is. It's like the stuff that we learn in school, in reading class, in English class, that's all the right way to do it. I feel like these authors, and how I want to do it, I want to kind of break that mold. I want to kind of just write in a different way. They're writing in a different way. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish I could like explain it better, but
no, I completely it's like whenever I'm reading something that I see something that I've never seen before. And it's just like, I didn't even know I could do that. I was reading Cloud Cuckoo Land.
Okay.
By Anthony Doerr. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
So it's an incredible book. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. I need to.
I read it, and he has a chapter in the book where he ends the chapter with like he ends the chapter with like the character getting interrupted in the middle of the character speaking. Oh. And that's how the chapter ends.
That is awesome. Like, see, that is cool.
I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. Like,
I love that.
Right. Like, whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, man, like, but that it goes back to, I think, what we talked about before, the communication, the expression, once you know like what you want to communicate, then like, okay, I'm breaking this rule for a reason. Like the reason I'm breaking this rule is for this, to communicate this, to make you feel good.
That's absolutely.
You got me hyped right now.
Yes. My next book is so I've decided to kind of take my writing to the next level. I feel like my writing has gotten better throughout the years, and I feel like I'm ready to send my manuscript off into the world, into the universe, and to see what happens.
Okay, like querying?
Yes. Yes, I am. I'm going to try querying. I tried doing it before, but honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. It was like, let me try this out. And I think about it now and I'm embarrassed because I'm like, what was that? But it's all part of learning. It's all part of growing. I've been talking with a few other authors about this, and I think I'm ready. You know what? Because listen, I'm not like this great indie author, but I do have some people who follow my reading. And if
nah, you're great. Come on.
If it doesn't follow through, then I can always just independently publish it and work on something else. You know what I mean? So I decided that this is what I'm going to do in the future. So who knows? We'll see what happens. I don't know.
I'm really excited for you. I mean, I think, it's just, I don't know. I feel like this is just the process. It's the process of us finding ourselves and, saying, hey, I'm going to step out here and try this. That doesn't work. Okay, cool. I'm going to try this. Oh, that worked. I'm just keep going. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Thank you. Yeah. Honestly, when I first started writing, I always said, I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this for myself. Everybody says, do it for yourself. Oh, write for, but come on. In the end, it's like, I want people to read my stories. I want people to know who I am. I'm putting all this work into something that I love and I want to share it, you know. So
Yeah.
um yeah, in this next book it's very witchy. I'm doing the witchcraft deal with
Mhm.
this one. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Side note, what's your do you have like a writers group? Like a
I don't have a writer's anything. I don't have a book club. I don't have like a writing retreat that I can go to.
Okay.
Like I need to set this stuff. I have, however, like I met one other writer in person. Her name is Vasilona Cooper. She's
Okay.
amazing. I have posted about her before. She has done one. She's published one indie book, and it's romance. But I met her in person. She's amazing. We do buddy reads sometimes
Oh, that's
together.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun. You got to try doing that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I would love to meet just like people that I could just go sit and have a writing retreat with or something, you
Right,
know? I
right.
don't
Yeah.
know.
I was gonna ask how you cultivate your writers group, but I guess you don't have one, so we can't talk about
Yeah.
it.
No, right.
I
Do
need to
you have a
find,
writer's group?
no, I need to find a group. I need to find like some people that I can just
So I feel like doing that on the internet would be great, but I feel like it'd be better if you lived, you know, if you find a group in your town, and that way I actually have an actor friend who has an acting group where he lives, and
yeah,
so he says it's great because, you know, they hook up once a week, they talk about things, they talk about even like just personal things, because sometimes those personal things can affect you creatively in a creative way.
yeah,
So, you know, yeah, he actually told me, he's like, you should find yourself a writers group. I'm like, I don't know how to look or where to go.
yeah.
um
I be hearing people with writers groups and people, and I'm like, man, it just sounds so nice to have people that you can. I think I thought about it because you said you had talked to some authors about, what you were going to do. I'm like, oh, do you have a writers group?
No, actually, no. These are people that I've met on Instagram, you know,
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
I've been friends with for a long time, but we haven't really met except Val.
Yeah,
But I do plan to meet a couple of them in the future.
yeah.
I mean,
Good.
that's a fun thing to do, you know,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
because you've been following each other, you've been supporting each other's journey for so long, and then you finally meet, and it's like, yay!
Yeah. No, I agree for sure.
You know,
Um,
maybe there's a way like to find like maybe in the library, maybe there's resources like in our local
yeah,
libraries or something that we can
tap
look
into.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go to the library ever, but I don't know.
The library is a lovely place, though. I don't usually go because I really don't like borrowing books, to be honest with you. I like,
Yeah.
like owning my books, but
Yes, I like owning my yeah. It's not a bad thing. I don't let me tell you though, the few times that I have loaned my books out, I didn't get them back.
oh
So
no. We
I'm
don't
like,
loan books out. No,
yeah, I
no, we
learned
don't
my
do that.
lesson. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
I only loan books out if I have like an extra copy. If I
Right.
loan you a book, I love you.
That's actually become pretty
Like,
true for me.
seriously.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I let you borrow one of my books, yeah, you like my people. I
Do
might
you
not you.
do you read Kindle? Do you read Kindle books like
I do.
ebooks? You do? I used
So,
to, but now I'm like, no, I need the book. Like, no.
so don't tell my wife, but usually when I buy a book, like a physical book, I
Right.
also buy the Kindle book.
Really?
So part of that though is because like when I was a kid, like when I was younger, I used to carry a book bag and I used to have all my books with me, like all the books I was reading.
Oh my God, you are
It-
such a nerd.
oh my,
I love
it was bad. So that's what I used to do. And then Kindles came out, and I still was like, I don't want to use no Kindle. I want to flip the pages. Like I like
Right.
smelling my books. What are you
Right.
talking about?
I
But
want
then
to
I
like,
realized, I'm like, oh wait, if I have a Kindle, I could just put it in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like I could just. So I like having my Kindle because I can travel with like all my books. Like just
right.
one little thing. But when I'm at home, I usually read on my,
So this is what you do probably. You're like, "Oh, I'm at home. I have to stop reading my book here, but I can take my Kindle and finish reading it wherever I am." Is that how you do it?
Yeah, basically. Like
Yeah,
if I'm out and I need, so usually if I'm out, I'm not reading. Usually, if I'm
right.
out, like I'm like writing, I'm like doing whatever. And but
Yeah,
there may be times where, like for example, I went to the shop the other day and they were like, "Hey, we're going to have your car for like 3 hours." I'm like, "Okay."
right.
So I got stuck there, so I was reading there. But usually I'm not reading out. So, but I just like having my books with me just in case.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I stay away from hardbacks. I know
Oh,
hardbacks are beautiful. I love them, but they don't carry well.
they don't
I can't
carry
just
well.
stick it in my damn and let me tell you, I am pretty I try to keep my books very neat. I don't like them. When I go shopping for my books, I'll pick the book behind all the other books
Oh,
because
oh, absolutely, for sure.
it hasn't been touched. It hasn't, it's not yeah.
But I will say this though, I do, if I see a book that I want and it's like got a little like messed up on it, like a little like on the edges,
Right.
they'll give you a discount for that.
Really? I have thought about that and I never asked and I should.
Every time I see if it's a book I want and it's got like a little like
Oh,
I take it, I say, y'all do discounts for this, right? They gave me 20% off that book.
what? Oh, I so have to do that. Yeah, I
Plus
have to
plus
do
my
that.
10% off the the coupon. I
Right.
mean not coupon, but the membership.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I am one of those people though. Like I do when I'm reading, I'll like, you know what? This sounds probably bad, but I feel like I'm going to feel like a real, and I know this sounds bad because I should feel like an author. I'm an independent author. Every independent author should feel like an author.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be real as shit. Like
Okay.
sometimes I don't. You know what I mean? Because A,
Okay.
I don't have the sales, or B, I'm just not out there. I'm not in a bookstore. You know what I mean? But
I
I
got
always tell myself, like, I think what's really going to make me feel like a really real author is when I am able to have one of my books printed in one of these floppy books that feel like this. I know that's
Wait,
so,
what are your books printed in now?
no, I mean they're printed like normal Amazon. You know what I mean? Like the normal. So they aren't they don't feel the same.
Oh, I wasn't aware of this. Okay.
Yeah, they don't. Have you ever had like a indie published like book? They feel different.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh my god, this is funny. Like you can't edit this out because it's live. Sorry, but
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, I love my books, but it feels different. It's like these books are like floppy. I don't know.
Oh.
Once my book,
Oh, it's the paper. It's the kind of
it's the
paper.
paper bag.
The
Yeah.
paper. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like once my book is published in like this format, I'm good to go.
You made it. You
I
made
made
it.
it. I'm gonna feel like I made it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I need to look into that. I need to look into that. Okay, so we ready to move to the second question?
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't realize we were still on the first question. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a quick like one word.
Oh my god. I'm just remembering that. Okay, all right, go on.
No,
Sorry.
it's all good. I love it. I love it. All right. One word that you want your legacy to be described as.
Oh wow, that's hard. One word.
You can use as many words as you need to.
I just want to be happy. Honestly,
Oh,
I've
wow.
always ever just wanted to be happy.
Mm.
And the people around me to be happy.
Yeah.
That's all. That's how I am with my family. That's how I am with my friends. I'm always just the one that's like the mediator or the one that's trying to like. I know this is a one question. I mean, a one answer, a one word.
I love it. Keep going.
But I just want everyone around me and me to be happy. That's it. It's a simple word.
Can I ask you, when you say happy, what do you mean?
I mean, just in the moment, because I'm an in the moment person, so just happy just with yourself in the moment, just are you happy with yourself right now? And if you're not, change whatever it is you're not happy about,
Yeah. Do you like reading like spirituality?
I don't, but I do.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I guess I could read some poetry that's kind of like spiritual.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of Eckhart Tolle?
I have not.
So he has these books that They changed my life. Like one
Really?
of them's called A New Earth, and another one's called The Power of Now.
Okay.
I read those books and was forever different.
The
So
Power of Now. And what was the other one?
A New Earth.
A New Earth. My husband just told me about a book. See, I'm weird about nonfiction. I like nonfiction. There's some like I read the Seth Rogen. I always bring this up because this is like one of the only nonfiction books I've ever read. But I read a Seth Rogen. He wrote his, I guess, memoir or whatever.
Memoir? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so good because it was about him growing up as a Jewish boy and how his Jewish life, you know, made him into who he is. And it was just so interesting. And yeah, that's like the only nonfiction I could really get into. It's just celebrity lives.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. I just thought I would put it out there because you were talking about the now. And
Yeah, I'm reading. Yeah, I'll definitely wrote it down. So for
okay,
sure.
awesome. What's one thing that you would change about your creative journey?
My creative journey so far, spending so much time on getting myself out there. I mean,
wow.
And not enough time on writing.
The craft.
Exactly. And that, I think that's the sad part about being an independent anything. It's just, you gotta do everything. You have to market yourself and write. And, you know, so it's hard. I would spend more time writing books.
Yeah. But I do think that you show up really well on social media, but you don't necessarily see that as marketing. Like, what's your approach? What's your approach or thought process behind your social media?
So I might be doing the right things, but I'm not being seen. And then that has to do with the Instagram algorithm. And then we got to get up all in that. And I'm like, I don't even know where to begin with that. I know people who have literally gotten so burnt out of trying to get themselves out there and promoting themselves that they just lose themselves in that and they don't write. Every writer that I write, you know, I'm sure you've read Save the Cat Writes a Novel, because that's like everybody's. I don't know if you've read the Stephen King on writing. That's amazing. You know, they always say just keep writing, write books, keep going. It's like in the beginning, I didn't do that. In the beginning, I wrote and then I tried to get myself out there and market that book, and it got me nowhere. You know, so that is what I would change. I would just write and just let everything just kind of fall into place. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I get noticed, great.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these indie authors will tell you it was luck that got them out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like the right time at the right place, or the right person read that book, you know, and got them out there. So
I think you know, I think I just try to find the balance of, you know, writing, being true to the craft, but also putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like once we put it out there, we can't really control who sees it, how many people see it, but we got to put it out there. You know,
you're absolutely right. Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like, and now too, I feel like, you know, I had a breakdown a couple of years ago, and I told my husband, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm writing these stories and they're going nowhere because they're not, I'm not selling, you know, and I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried everything. I've tried Amazon promotions. I've tried this, I've tried that, you know, it's like, what else can I do? Yeah. And I told him, like, you know what, I don't want to quit writing because that's who I am. That's what I do. One of them's got to go. And it's the me constantly trying to promote myself. And I do it now, but I feel like I have found more of a balance. I feel like I have more of like, okay, you know, I post a reel a day about this, and, you know, and that's what I like about doing the reels too, is like, it could just be about whatever, writing, because that's what I try to make my profile is about, just my life in general,
Right.
which is reading, writing, and just being silly.
Yeah.
So I told him, a couple years ago, I'm just not putting all my energy in that anymore. I want to put my energy in my writing. And so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I feel like this next question will tie into what we just talked about, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Yeah, that just focus on the writing.
Focus on the writing.
Focus on your craft. Focus on you. Focus on reading as well, because last year I read a lot more books last year than I did this year. And I think because I actually wrote more this year than I did last year. But I'm trying to, and I'm always trying to find, because I do find that reading helps me so much. I mean, look, reading these dark fiction books is helping me to find my style of writing, kind of what I feel happy with. I feel happy writing this way, So right. I think reading is so important for writers. Like they need to read as much as possible. Just read. So that's what I try to do. I just try to read as much as I can, but then life gets in the way, and then you want to write, and then,
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, I feel it for sure.
But I would read more, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one thing that you would want everyone that sees or hears this to know?
Don't give up. Just in anything in your life. I've been in situations in my life where I wanted to give up, as in writing as well. I want to just give up.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So just don't. I know that is such a cliche saying or whatever, but it is for a reason. It's because just don't give up.
Yeah. 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 That's lovely. So we've come to the end of this conversation. It's been a joy having you on tonight.
It's fun. This is awesome.
Is there anything that you want to plug? You want to tell people what's coming, down the pike for you? Like, now's your time to just say, hey, this is what I got on the way.
Yeah. Well, well, we know that I'm going to be focusing on querying. And for anybody who doesn't know, that's basically just writing a letter to a literary agent or agency or whatever to help, get your book traditionally published. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll just go, the indie way.
For sure. It's going to work out. It's going to work out either way. Yeah, I appreciate you so much for coming on tonight.
Oh, this has been so fun. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you for the book recommendations too. Send me some links, because
for sure, I got you.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say before I end the show, I always try to leave some words of affirmation for my guests. So I just want to say, I appreciate. I've been following you on social media for, I guess, a couple of months, and I just appreciate the joy and the happiness and just the good energy that you present on social media, and also, hearing more about the context from what you've been through and everything that you've came from. It's really powerful. It's impactful. And so I just want to say, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. That's what I want to do. Inspire people, and you inspire me. So we all inspire each other in the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So to the watchers and listeners, thank you for tuning in tonight. Next week, I'll be back with another episode. And with that, we're signing off. I love you.